Welcome to South East Today. Our top stories this evening. Operations postponed and staff redeployed at the Sussex hospitals, struggling to cope with a surge in COVID admissions.
We're doing all that we can to get patients through our hospital as safely as possible.
First tonight, our largest hospital trust is postponing operations and redeploying staff to deal with the pressures of COVID. The University Hospital Sussex NHS Foundation Trust, which runs sites across Brighton, Hove and West Sussex, says it's having to prioritise patients with the most urgent clinical need. It comes as politicians and families in the South East call on the Prime Minister to consider his position after fresh allegations of a party in Downing Street during the first lockdown. More on that in a moment, but first our health correspondent Mark Norman reports on a hospital trust trying to avert a crisis.
For 2 years, we've seen and filmed staff at the Royal Sussex County Hospital as they fought to provide patients the best possible care in incredibly difficult circumstances.
It's just truly unbelievable compared to anything else that we've ever seen, especially in my time being a nurse.
But some are telling me that they are now facing one of the most difficult moments the Trust has faced in the last 24 months.
We are seeing some pressure after Christmas. Many trusts around the country, indeed, seeing similar levels of activity. It's important to say we've been planning for this for some time, so we've been putting our plans in operation now, redeploying staff where we need to, and for the very few patients we've had to put some postponements for their elective procedures, that's their surgical operations. But we take that on an individual case. We're doing all that we can to get patients through our hospital as safely as possible.
In a statement on their website, the Trust has said it's seeing the predicted surge of COVID cases, but that's alongside significant ongoing pressure on its A&E, high numbers of staff absent due to COVID and rising numbers of patients with COVID. And it's that difficult combination of circumstances that's led them to postpone some less urgent clinical work, reallocate staff to more frontline roles, postpone some planned procedures and conduct a discharge event to try and move medically fit patients out of the hospital into more appropriate settings.
Staff are tired. They've been working courageously for 2 years. Many of them are off ill, and we're just going to be, everyone in the system is just trying to do their best at the minute.
But the problems are wider than with just this hospital. Hundreds of its patients are medically fit to leave the Trust, but the social care system can't find the space or resources for them.
In Sussex, we do have this particular problem with people who are medically fit to be discharged, mostly elderly people, but for whom there's not appropriate care available at home or in residential care. And that's a real problem, and it's a problem particularly with a higher elderly population. Now, we've been putting pressure on the county council and other local care providers to make sure there's a much more seamless operation going on with hospitals.
But the Trust don't know if this is the peak of infections or if worse is to come. So they don't know if their response will be enough to ease the pressure they're currently facing. Mark Norman, BBC South East Today.